to say good afternoon now. It's because it's afternoon.
It is afternoon, just barely.
And on your time slot here, Exiles TV.
Look at Marty. Marty looks shocked.
Yeah.
With that great big feedback loop. You look shocked.
Coming to you live from 10655 Coursey Boulevard, the home of the Bayou Smokehouse, old school barbecue. This is the newest barbecue joint in Baton Rouge, and you owe it to yourself to pay them a visit for lunch or for dinner sometime soon.
You can smell it from the parking lot. You know you're in the right place.
See, there's worse things to smell while you're doing a television program than good barbecue in the background.
Electrical sparking from a short is one of those that you don't want to smell.
You don't want to smell that. No.
You pull these wireless things off your body almost immediately.
And in my case, I don't want to smell burnt toast.
Yeah, no.
Because that means I'm stroking out.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, let's get right down to things going on in the news, especially here in the capital city. There is a surprising move. Maybe some didn't find it surprising.
I didn't find it surprising at all.
I don't know.
saw the billboards for the last 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, do you recall, if you were driving through the capital city, there were billboards that were critical of the high crime rate in the city and critical of the police and the police chief. One police officer was fired back in December of last year for violating departmental policy, according to Police Chief Murphy Paul. The officer's name was Saya Creel. He did an interview for a YouTube channel, and he didn't get prior approval to do the interview, and that's the reason he was terminated.
Now, there is a little more subtext to this story, but it all comes out in the wash. First of all, the reason he was fired was because he was in uniform. And that apparently is against a policy or a procedure currently instituted in the Baton Rouge Police Department. He was also speaking as a member of the union. He was a vice president or a secretary of the union at the point at which he did this interview. And that's what got him fired. The case spurred a lot of unrest within the police union because the billboards they first had up were "We stand with Saya Creel," and they had his picture, and it was because he was terminated. Now, you cannot just terminate a police officer in this city because you want to. You can't terminate a firefighter.
Well,
it has to go to the municipal
Fire and Police Civil Service Board.
Yeah. So he had his Civil Service Board hearing, which lasted nearly 10 hours. It ended at 1:30 this morning.
Good Lord.
And he was reinstated.
Now, Officer Creel has already served an 87-day suspension without pay. They reversed his termination. The appeal before the Civil Service Board lasted, as he said, till the wee small hours. There's no date yet given for when Officer Creel will return to his job, but the board voted unanimously to let him have his job back.
Now, let me tell you what is 50-50 on this one. It's a 50-50 shot. He can go back to his job and everybody agree to walk away friends, or the chief has the discretion to take him to district court to ask the court to reverse the Civil Service Board
and fire him
uphold
again.
his firing. Then he has the right to appeal that to the Circuit Court of Appeals. And if you remember, when we were in Dwayne White land here, remember that?
It's been a few years.
Yeah, it almost came to that. So, is this over? I think that depends on now Officer Creel, again, and Chief Paul. But let me tell you, with the bashing, and this is an opinion from Bill, with the bashing the police officers all over this country are getting, with the infighting between police unions and their chiefs and their superintendents all over this country right now, this would be a time to make peace. It's not like Officer Creel was accused of stealing drugs out of the evidence room.
It's not like he hurt anybody.
He gave an interview to the YouTube channel. To a YouTube channel.
Did he exercise poor judgment in doing that interview in uniform?
Well, you know
or
what?
without clearing it with a shift supervisor? Maybe so.
In the past, when all members of the police union who are police officers have given an interview about the union, they have always done it in uniform. The idea is clarity. You know who this person is speaking for.
Right.
This particular administration would like to know in advance and say, yes, you can, no, you can't. I assume that is within their purview, but this regulation was very, very new at the time this happened. And there are a lot of people that are saying that Creel was fired to set an example of, and it used to be this way, by the way, everything gets cleared for media use through this office. Now, I don't know whether that's a good policy or a bad policy. I'm not going to comment on that. But I'm going to say in the climate we have in the United States, in the climate we have in Baton Rouge, where a lot of people fear police officers, a lot of people are suspicious of police officers.
A lot of people just hate police officers.
The unions are attacking the chiefs and the superintendents are attacking the unions. This would be a good one to break bread and make peace over, in Bill's opinion.
Well, I think the police and their unions need to show some solidarity. They need to pull together at this very trying time. The one thing that's, this is the comment from Creel's attorney, Jill Kraft, who is probably one of the best defense attorneys in this city. She claimed the chief only fired Creel, quote, as retaliation for making him look bad in public. Well, that's the allegation.
And that's lawyer speak, and that's what a lawyer needs to say and should say. If she were representing Chief Paul, she would say something completely different. But again, to me, and I've been in this business a long time, I've interviewed cops and FBI agents and chiefs of police and superintendents and attorneys general.
God knows on our radio show, you and I had badges aplenty go through that studio.
I've interviewed federal prosecutors. I've interviewed the head of the Border Patrol, the head of the Secret Service. And you know what? This would be a good one to say, all right, we all got a little upset and it was maybe pushing the line of the regulation, but let's just try to work together now. I think the community would appreciate it.
Meanwhile, the police chief has other pressures coming to bear.
Well, and a lot of it came because of this. We'll talk about that in a minute. Stick around for Exiles TV.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. taste the feeling.
Welcome back. It's Exiles TV and our new time slot here at 12 noon. And coming to you live from the Bayou Smokehouse on Coursey Boulevard.
Come by and have a little lunch, maybe a cocktail. You can come sit with us, and while we do the show, we'd be happy to see you. And you're going to love the food, trust me.
Okay, in our last segment, we talked a bit about this case of a police officer that had been fired by Chief Murphy Paul for doing an interview without permission. The Civil Service Board that is over police and firemen has voted 5-0, in other words, unanimously, to give him his job back.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't had any reaction from the police chief yet, but does the police chief have any choice in this, or can he say, "Oh hell no, he doesn't get his job back"?
Well, no, he can go to court. As I said, he can go to court and sue to overturn
he can appeal the.
Well, actually, you're suing to overturn their hearing, their decision.
But this comes at a time when more and more people are getting upset with just the fact that we've got a seemingly unending amount of violent crime and murder going on in this town.
Well,
and of course, when that happens, we look to the police chief.
Well, and we have court cases that are getting dismissed because officers are under suspicion. But here's another thing. I was kind of surprised by this. Another veteran police officer claimed that the chief and his administration violated departmental policies and criminal law by allegedly mishandling internal affairs investigations. And the local Civil Service Board has agreed, yesterday they agreed, to consider opening their own investigation into Chief Murphy Paul.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. The board spent about an hour discussing how to handle the request for investigation, and there was a heated statement from the chief saying, quote, "I'm sick and tired of officers attacking my credibility." Again, quote, "These are the games they're playing. I'm getting sick and tired of it, and I will not continue to be bullied by this man and the leadership of the Baton Rouge Police Union. We will fight back today." Today. It sounds like it was really under the chief's skin. On August 23rd, the board will decide whether or not they are going to open an investigation. These complaints were filed last month by Sergeant John Doce. He's been on the department for 20 years, is not on the leadership board, contrary to what the chief implied during his response. He made the unusual request, and it is unusual, to the Baton Rouge Municipal Fire and Police Civil Service Board, which has historically never used their authority to investigate. They do have investigative authority, but they have not used it. Sergeant Doce said he was working in internal affairs when Murphy Paul took office in 2018, requested a transfer into street patrol shortly thereafter because he felt the administration had introduced a blatantly partial doctrine for enforcing the policies of the BRPD. After becoming the subject of multiple internal investigations himself, Doce is bringing these allegations against the chief. Now, the chief suggested the request for investigation is indicative of a bigger problem of insubordination within the department. The chief said, and I'm quoting, "This has never happened before. I want everybody to pay attention to that. Why is it happening now? The fact that we are even entertaining this concerns me greatly." Now, his attorneys asked the board to dismiss the request without opening an investigation. The board said no. Paul also accused Sergeant Doce of filing the complaints only after getting mad because of an ongoing internal affairs investigation. Both complaints stem from earlier issues. Again, the allegation is that officials, and when they say officials, I believe that they mean above the level of IA, interfering in internal affairs investigations and mishandling them. I am going to walk out on a limb, and if you feel I'm wrong, you stop me. I think what this comes down to, truthfully or not, is there has been a perception that Sharon Broome ran for mayor. She was not mayor when she said this, to replace Carl Dabadie. And she said quite specifically that she wanted to have a black BRPD chief. When she was elected, she tried to dismiss Carl Dabadie and couldn't dismiss him, and he decided to wait until he retired, and he left. Chief Paul was selected. Chief Paul has a long career with Louisiana State Police, and he is African American, in case you don't know that. And since this time, every time there has been some sort of a kerfuffle or investigation or whatever, there has been a perception that there is a different standard of treatment in terms of discipline or intervention between white and black officers. Now, I will end by saying I don't know that that's the truth, but there are a lot of people that have that perception.
I don't know that I agree with that perception, Bill, but Chief Paul is not our first black police chief.
That's right.
And we didn't have these perceptions or allegations when Jeff LaDuff was chief of police.
That's true.
Jeff LaDuff was a black man, and there was seemingly no racial friction within the Baton Rouge Police Department.
Well, some of this is also coming from the fact that apparently the police union has legally raised enough funds to do a lot of expensive advertising, particularly these billboards. I mean, these billboards on the interstate,
they're not cheap.
No, they cost between $1,200 and $3,000 a month. And they have several of them. You know, one saying, "Save Creole," and we stand with Creole. One saying, "Defend the badge, not the criminal." They are certainly trying to paint a picture that the administration of this police force is soft on crime, which I think is a misperception, by the way. But it is what it is. And we have had Chief Paul on this program right in this chair. We had, when our radio program was running, the head of the police union right in this chair, figuratively, although it is now a different head. The thing is, do you think that the infighting is bad for both entities?
I do. I do. I think it weakens the overall picture of law enforcement in the capital city. When you've got the union and the police at odds with one another, the union is the police. But when you've got the union going to war with the administrative arm of the police, it weakens the overall product, I think.
Now,
and they're already under siege in America. We can't afford to have a weakened police force.
Let me ask you this question. The quote, this is from Chief Paul. "These are the games that they're playing. I'm getting sick and tired of it, and I will not continue to be bullied by this man and the leadership of the Baton Rouge Police Union. We will fight back today. Again, I have a great deal of respect for Chief Paul. I don't necessarily know that it's sending a good message to say this in the media. It sounds like I can't take criticism.
He's escalating.
When you're the chief of anything, you know what? Sometimes you have to put up with a lot of BS.
And I'm not saying the chief is thin-skinned. I'm saying it gives him the appearance of being thin-skinned.
But what do you make of, these are the words, "We will fight back today. What does that mean, fight back? Go after union members? Go after officers that are members of the, what does that mean?
Well,
see, it leaves a very wide spectrum.
Aren't all officers members of the union?
Most, but not all.
Okay.
And nobody in management.
So is he saying we're going to launch infighting in the department between the non-union and the union members?
See, that's the problem I have. There's the question. What does this mean? You know, and again, I don't know all the internals on this. I don't pretend to. But I don't know that the police chief, any police chief at this point in time, can lose his cool. I mean, if I were him, I'd say, hey, I welcome it. Come to my office. I'll show you any records you want to show. That would pretty much take that fuse and put it underwater, wouldn't it?
Well, I like the police chief. I think he's
I
an
do
earnest
too.
man. And I think that he has been under the gun since the moment his name was announced as the new police chief.
And I think
because people didn't like the circumstances under which he was chosen.
And I think anybody would have had the same suspicion because of the circumstances. Mayor Broom did not do him any favors with the way she campaigned on this.
Yep, and that's on Mayor Broom. We need to take another break, and we're going to do that right now. More coming up on Exiles TV.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
The selection is deep, and the time to get a used car is right now from the Team Automotive Group. Shop and save on over 125 certified vehicles and choose from more than 700 pre-owned vehicles at any of our team locations. Or log on anytime at teamautouse.com.
Well, and as we talk about policing in the capital city, which, as I like to remind people, Baton Rouge is now the most populous city and the most populous parish in our state. And just a quick aside, by the way, according to the Census Bureau, we're not going to lose any representation because the state of Louisiana gained 107,000 residents.
How did that happen?
Yeah, some of them probably fled from California, who is losing a representative.
Yeah, first time in their history.
But still, the crime problem goes on. We just had a big murder conviction. Kenneth Gleason convicted of first-degree murder, serial killer. We had 4 killed over the weekend. 4 killed over the weekend in the capital region. And the problem, as I see it, Bill, is it's not a policing problem. Police can only respond after something has happened.
Well, that's exactly right.
And in my opinion, and we have developed in this country and in our city a willingness to take life, a lack of respect for human life in general, and that, to me, is a community and a cultural problem. And when I say community, I don't mean it with a capital C, meaning black people.
No.
Although, without a doubt, there is a problem in black communities.
Yes.
But we see it with Kenneth Gleason, the man who was just convicted of first-degree murder. This is a white man, and his crimes were, by accounts, racially motivated.
Yes.
So it's just that something has happened in our society where we don't value human life unless it's our own.
Well, we get into the what do you want to do about it? And that rolls down the hill to the what can you do about it? And here's the deal. I think if you took every member of the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Department and BRPD that works in the street, every one of them that works uniform control, and said, tell me who you think is most likely to drop a cap on somebody. And they'll give you names. They'll show you where they live. Mm-hmm. But we can't then take that officer and say, okay, you sit on their doorstep, and when they come out, you frisk them to see if they're carrying. Or if they come out and you see the gun, you put them down. We don't have a viable solution under our system. And cops are not designed to be a preventive measure for interpersonal violence. They can be preventive in drug trafficking. They can be preventive in a lot of different areas that involve multiple illegal things. They cannot be preventive when it comes to interpersonal violence, because that should be with the parents and the preachers.
The community, the family, the churches.
Yeah.
Whatever social structures there are.
Yeah.
The problem is some of these young people aren't taking part in these social structures.
Or they don't have it because one of the other parents has left or is an addict this has been happening, this has been escalating since the 60s. I think it really hit its peak about 6 or 7 years ago in this country, where you've got kids that would rather go to prison than do the right thing when they leave their home. Because prison's stable.
This hit a peak for me last week when the nation wanted to come down on the shoulders of a Columbus, Ohio police officer because he acted to save a young woman's life by taking the life of a 16-year-old girl who was swinging a 10-inch kitchen knife.
Yep.
That's attempted murder, in my opinion. You saw the video. You saw that, she was swinging for downtown with that knife.
Oh, yeah, she was going to kill somebody.
She could have easily, if she had connected with, vital organs, she could have easily killed somebody. That was an attempted murder stopped by a police officer. That's not the narrative America is seeing. America says police officer kills 16-year-old. And I've even seen some stories where it was classified as being unarmed because she didn't have a gun. And you don't need to send a cop with a gun to break up a knife fight. Yes, you do.
Yeah, you do.
And just so that everybody understands, in the world of policing and law enforcement, a deadly weapon is a deadly weapon, whether it fires bullets or cuts skin.
Or can be used to break your skull open.
Right.
Or as a vehicle that you can drive.
We talk about gun control, but in the United States of America, according to the FBI in the year 2019, more people were murdered by being bludgeoned than anything else.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that.
So let's not talk about gun control. Gun control is not the answer. And people are saying, well, we need police reforms. We need police reforms. I don't think so. I think we need citizen reforms.
But this is the problem. You know what? Let's talk about alcoholics. And I know some of you who watch us have struggled with alcoholism. I believe that it is in fact a disease, that it is a physical disease that has a very strong psychological component. Would you agree?
Totally.
And a lot of you have gone through The Cure. You've gone to a chemical dependency unit, 12-step program, the Betty Ford Center or a local equivalent of it. And everybody says hurrah, 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 and it is a hurrah. But do you realize that the return rate is well over 50%, right? You get that?
The number of alcoholics who slide back into it, is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Who have to either go and get some treatment again or who don't. I would not call that effective. Now, there is something that's effective. It's a drug that's been around since the 20s. It's called antabuse. And I can shoot you with antabuse. And if you get near alcohol, some people, if you even put on perfume or aftershave, you will puke your guts out for 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, that seems extreme.
See, that's the point. But it works. 100% of the time it works. We are not willing to do anything in this society because, as you said, well, that seems extreme. Mm-hmm. We are not willing to do anything that even 80% works when it comes to young kids with weapons, taking them out on each other. We are not willing to do that. They have a juvenile system that protects their identity, and the identity of their family as well. Okay? You can't lock them up forever. You send them to counseling. You have gun buyback programs. You have drug buyback programs. They go out and they sell the guns back that they're not using anymore and take the money and go out and buy some drugs and then resell those, and they can get guns anywhere they want. We don't do what is effective. We won't. We can't.
It occurs to me sometimes that what if the truth of the matter is that we don't care if these young people kill each other off?
Well, that's the truth that is never spoken.
I mean, it's horrible to think that. But when you think about BLM Incorporated, and then, of course, the grassroots Black Lives Matter, both what they have in common is the lives only seem to matter when they're taken by someone with a badge or someone that's not the same color. That the black lives don't seem to matter when they're killing each other wholesale.
Well, we have, as a society, particularly in big cities, had what I consider to be criminal negligence for about 55, 60 years.
Excuse me.
I grew up in Mayor Daley's Chicago. And the murder rate and all that they talk about, Chicago, the murder rate. We had the Blackstone Rangers, and then we had the Blackstone P Rangers that fought it out with the Blackstone Rangers, and we had the Latin Kings. We had all these.
But back when you were young, they'd get together and they'd rumble, and maybe somebody'd get stabbed.
They'd shoot, but you know what? Again, what it was? Long as they keep it in their neighborhood, as long as they're killing each other, as long as they don't come to Michigan Avenue and hurt business, hell with them. And every city in this country has done the same thing when they started to get an urban murder rate. Do you think we would have the murder rate in this city right now that we have if it happened on Bocage Boulevard? Hell no.
But see, it is starting to, not necessarily in Baton Rouge.
Oh yeah, it spreads.
But look at the very well-publicized story about Lady Gaga's dog walker, who was walking through a very trendy neighborhood in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Very trendy, very Tony, very rich, $5 million mansions. And she's shot and killed by an armed robber while she's walking the woman's dogs. It's like...
Well, he didn't die. He was shot twice.
Crime is...
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't die. Okay.
He didn't die.
That's good. But crime is breaking out of its former borders. We used to have the high crime areas. Now, our entire city is a high crime area.
Yeah.
And you need to be prepared for it, and you need to some extent, expect it.
Houma, Louisiana. Houma.
Yeah. Houma.
Looking for a man known as Pee-wee. Opened fire inside a nightclub over the weekend. Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office said the shooting happened at Lenny's nightclub and home at 1 a.m., left 5 people hurt. Deputies arrived on the scene to the sound of gunshots and to find a crowd fleeing the club. 2 of them are in critical condition. The other 3 are still in the hospital as well.
Wow.
Sheriff's Office identified the suspect as Brandon Deshaun Johnson. Brandon's not a hardened criminal. Brandon's 19 years old. He also goes by Pee-wee.
Pee-wee. Pee-wee's such a nice, harmless nickname.
But again, you got a million questions here.
What precipitated Pee-wee pulling his gun?
Well, they don't say that because they don't have any witnesses. They all ran and didn't want anything to do with it.
And of course, when the cops started asking questions, nobody saw nothing. Another part of the cultural problem.
Well, the point is, it is very, very, very well known in a lot of these night spots that there are lots of guns around, and there are lots of underage people, and there are lots of underage people with guns in a lot of these night spots. And nobody does anything about it because as long as it happens in that neighborhood. And now, you know what, Kevin? There's a bigger incentive to not give a damn, because woe be unto you if you're called to a shooting scene and it's a nightclub in the community and you happen to be a white officer and you have to use your weapon.
Your career's over.
So I'm thinking they're slow walking a lot of these response calls.
Maybe so.
For their own self-preservation.
Maybe so. Are we going to see a day when police departments go, you know, where's the incident? Okay, well we're going to send black units.
Well,
only send black cops into black parts of town.
You know, it's a funny type of thing. A good friend of mine, who was related to Alton Sterling, and he was very distraught.
I know who you're talking about. Good man.
Yeah, he is a good man. He's very distraught. He said, why don't they have nothing but black cops going to that neighborhood? I said, Todd, think about what you're saying. You can't do that.
Racist.
Well, not only that, it's a big put down on the entire community. You're saying that the entire community would resent a police officer who happens to be white or Asian? You can't do that. Now, I'll tell you what is happening. I can't prove it, but they're damn fools if they don't do it. If the closest officers happen to be very, very pale, they're going to slow step it until some black officers come to back them up.
Call for backup. It is time for us to take another break, and we're going to do that right now. We'll be back with more. This is Exiles TV.
Balello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent. Depend on us for service, for selection, for price. Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Balello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
The first big sale of the year is here. The Dream Garage Spring Event is underway at Team Honda. For the first time ever, get $12.50 customer cash on every new 21 Passport, or get 0% for 60 months on every new 21 Pilot at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda.
desire in your eyes, but you can't keep it in your heart. 'Cause misery loves company. 'Cause misery loves company. Cold and hungry like a dog in the street. I get a raw deal every one.
Hey, we're back with Exiles TV, and carrying on this conversation we were having about crime and violence, and as I put it, the seeming willingness of people to take life or be just callous towards other people's lives, not care about other people's lives. This is a story from ABC News, Sandy Springs, Georgia. You ever been to Sandy Springs?
I've passed through it.
It's a nice little town.
Yeah.
It's a nice little town. 38-year-old Georgia woman's under arrest. She's accused of a hit and run. She had a traffic accident. She fled the scene of the crash, and moments later, while fleeing the hit and run, ran over a pedestrian and his dog, killing them in a second hit and run. Now, first of all, you just don't run from a traffic accident. You just don't do, you don't do that. And then, if you're so desperate to get away that you're willing to run over human beings, I just don't know what to make of that. Dominique Houston, behind the wheel of her white Chevy Malibu with Florida tags, ran over a young man by the name of Michael Farmer and his dog, a Catahoula cur named Bruce. Both died as a result of the collision. The Sandy Springs Police Department partnered with the Sheriff's Office in Coweta County, managed to track Houston down. She is now in custody.
You know why most people run from a hit and run accident?
Because they don't have proper insurance or driver's license.
Because they're drunk.
Or they're drunk. Which, I don't know if they can determine whether or not she was impaired at the time of the accident.
Yeah, because it was so late that they finally got her. But that's why, and you know what? It doesn't improve your lot when you're involved in a second accident or when they finally catch you. Hit and run driving, even without a death, is looked upon very, very dimly in this society because it is so virulently dangerous.
No, the thing is, sometimes things happen, and sometimes you're at fault when they happen. But the measure of a person is, do they stay and own up to what happened and take their lumps if they need to? I don't, short of killing someone, vehicular homicide, I don't know anybody that's ever gone to jail for a fender bender.
No. But a lot of the reasons people run are because if
They're
the cops show up to that fender bender,
there's something about them that's going to get them in jail. But it's pretty cold-blooded, I think, and I would like to know more. We have no statement from the woman herself, but I can't see any scenario where you didn't see the man and his dog in front of your vehicle when you ran them over.
well, let's go back to the original accident. She certainly knew she'd had an accident, and she ran from that one.
Yep.
And people don't run, when they're running from an accident, it's funny. They don't follow the speed limits. They don't put on their turn signals. They don't stop for traffic
Red lights, not so much.
Yeah.
It's just horrible.
She's been booked with vehicular homicide in the first degree, reckless driving, 2 counts of hit and run, and 1 count of following too closely. That's probably the first one. She is in Fulton County Jail, which is Atlanta, and she has not been set bail yet because of this.
Yeah. Say, random subject change. Do you want to talk about, because it is the capital region, do you want to talk about the congressional election in District 2?
Sure.
I think that it was a surprise to some people that State Senator Karen Carter Peterson, who was in a runoff with State Senator Troy Carter, lost. I think a lot of people, given her length of time in state government, the familiarity of her and her name, I think a lot of people thought that her constituents would easily vote her and send her to Washington, D.C. And I'm going to call it an upset that Troy Carter won this thing. I didn't like her ads. I didn't like that she chose to, in the first election, local activist Gary Chambers got like 24% of the vote, which was amazing.
Yeah.
She chose to hang that on her runoff ads, saying endorsed by Gary Chambers. Well, to me, that's like, I mean, as many people are going to think that's a good thing as think it's a bad thing.
Well, and you know, it's very interesting.
He's a very polarizing figure.
Well, I thought this was very, very interesting, and I actually thought this might work in her favor. I'm going to explain this to the people who are watching. I know you know this. 80% of the ads that we saw for Karen Carter Peterson were not her ads. They were PACs.
PAC ads.
Political action committees that wanted to see her elected. And both of the ones that hung the Gary Carter endorsement, they were both, Women in Action was one of them, and there was another one. They were very expensive ads. These were produced in Washington, D.C.
Shot on film.
They ran so many of them that some of them ran on Sunday because apparently they didn't realize that the election was over at some local television stations. But the PAC cannot interact with the candidate, and the candidate cannot interact with the PAC. That's illegal. So they were assuming that this endorsement was going to make a big issue, where Troy Carter's ads, less voluminous, but he also said Cedric Richmond endorsed me because he knows I can keep his things that are in the works on the front burner. And
in other words, he ran on the job.
He ran on the job. And I'm sorry, I think there was a little too much activism in these ads for Karen Carter Peterson that made a lot of people say, wait a minute, that's not the job you're aspiring to. That's not what we have in this district. A lot of very different issues because it stretches from the Felicianas all the way into Orleans Parish.
Well, she had already established something of she aligned herself with people who want to take statues down and have taken statues down. And, you know, you can run from history, but you can't change it. And that's why I was not in favor of taking any of the statues down. Especially the one that bothered me a great deal, you would think General Lee in Jackson Square, but you know, by the time you get to the top of that big old pole, you can barely see General Lee there in that, I say Jackson Square in Lee Circle. But the statue of General Beauregard out by the New Orleans Museum of Art was in itself a beautiful, beautiful piece of art.
And intended to be so.
An historical piece of art. And General Beauregard's history was not so egregious that beautiful piece of art needed to come down.
Well,
I've got my own opinions about Senator Peterson, and I didn't have a dog in the hunt because I'm not a voter in District 2, but I'm just going to say it. I'm glad she did not win. I think that she is the wrong kind of person. We have enough people like that in the House already that are angry and upset and agendized and aren't looking at the big picture for America and their state.
Well, aren't looking at the business of their district. Tyler Bridges wrote how the headline on his story in The Advocate is, and of course, you try to scroll back up on The Advocate's website, and you get a blank page for voters.
And 1,000 ads, by the way.
Voters voted against wokeness. How Troy Carter defeated Karen Carter Peterson. I watched the ad. They had three primarily that they ran ad nauseum, and I watched for the content. And I think Tyler Bridges has it right. This was, I am going to run on wokeness rather than on the responsibilities of a United States congressman.
Well, look at the PAC ads criticizing Carter. They were all issues that were all about wokeness, the things that Troy Carter wasn't down with.
So, you know, it just, and this quote, by the way, is from James Carville, political strategist. Voters voted against wokeness, said Carville. They just did. Woke did very, very poorly. Question is, Kevin, do you think that's a trend?
Well, you know, the saying is, you know, get woke and go broke. You know, so I think that I think we're seeing a saturation point where a lot of Americans, even liberal Americans, are getting a gutful of being told how they're supposed to feel and what they're supposed to think.
I think you have that on the nose. Let's take our break and wrap it up and talk about that a little bit. The emotional implication of all of this for everybody, black and white. We'll be back in a moment on Exiles TV.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Back with Exiles TV, and in our remaining 3.5 minutes, let's talk about woke culture. Some people don't even know exactly what it is, but what I look at it is...
It's bad grammar.
It's terrible grammar.
Yeah.
It's born out of a phrase that came out of the, I don't know, the...
What I think they mean to say is be awakened.
Be awakened, yes. A Buddha is, the word Buddha means one who is awake. But they're not really, it's not really about being awakened. It's about being down with the program and feeling the way you're supposed to feel and saying the things you're supposed to say and signaling the virtues you're supposed to signal, wearing your mask, getting your COVID shot, and telling everybody on Facebook, I got my shot.
I don't think that. I think people are just tired of drinking the Kool-Aid from every side. Mm-hmm. I think people are tired of the woke culture. I think people are tired of the America First culture. I think people are tired of always being told who they're supposed to be angry at.
I got to be honest with you. I am never going to be tired of the America First culture. I don't think there's anything wrong with the citizens of the United States saying America for Americans first.
That isn't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who use America First as an excuse to burn down a building.
You're talking America.
Yeah.
America.
Yeah. I think we are getting past this, and we started to see this when we did a radio show every day. where people are tired of being told at breakfast time and now at lunch and dinner who they're supposed to be angry at and who they're supposed to like without any thought. And I do think James Carville, whose instincts are pretty good, said it right. Woke got beat.
Karen Carter Peterson was definitely the woke candidate. She got beat. The Oscars, the lowest rated Oscars performance in history. Why? Because we know to expect a big woke-de-woke.
Well, and Regina King went off script at the very beginning of it and decided to do her as the mother of a black child. If things had gone differently in Minneapolis from the very beginning, and you could actually hear the remotes being picked up.
Yeah, and you know, I love Regina King. She's brilliant, but I don't always agree with.
Well, the thing is, people are tired of being told what they already know. People are tired of being told that they're supposed to be angry or offended or moved. I mean, there was a post by somebody local here that maybe I'll talk about when we next get together.
Did you see Tyler Perry's speech? Real quick. Tyler Perry's I refuse to hate, because he started, I refuse to hate you because you're Asian, or because you're white, or because, and the audience, yeah, applause, applause, or because you're a police officer, and the applause went.
What a shame.
What a shame. Because I agree with Tyler Perry.
Yeah, but you know, when somebody's trying to steal their Maserati, they're sure hoping there's a cop on the corner.
Those police, you bet.
But I'll tell you about that post maybe next time we get together. It so offended me, and it's typical of this.
Yeah, scare it up and bookmark it. Let's talk about it on the next show.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it again. In the meantime, come on out, have some barbecue. This place is great. Bayou Old-Fashioned Barbecue. Please come by on Coursey Boulevard. Thank you for joining us. See you again.
God bless.
Bye-bye.